Hey, what's up, good people? I'm QC. Welcome to this live stream for Talking and Grubbing. First and foremost, I want to wish everybody a happy Easter. Some of y'all call it Resurrection Sunday. So happy holiday. Well, I hope all y'all had a happy holiday. You got a chance to spend time with the family, go to church in your favorite Easter suit, to show it off for everybody and also has some good grub. And speaking of grub, I'm about to grub on some of these shells and cheese. Mm, this is good, y'all. So if you come into the chat, please hit the like button. Also, I want y'all to chime in on your comments of what I'm about to discuss tonight. Now, these NBA playoffs, they've been pretty cool so far. I mean, the Celtics swept Indiana today. Also, the Warriors, they took a commanding 3-1 lead against the Clippers. Yesterday, the Nuggets evened up their series with the Spurs at 2-2. So now it's a best of three. In Philly, they also came back and beat Brooklyn to take a commanding 3-1 lead heading back to Philly Tuesday night. Right now, and also the Rockets took a 3-0 lead on the Jazz last night, as well as the Milwaukee Bucks. They took a 3-0 lead on the Pistons. So right now, the Raptors and the Magic, they're playing their game right now in Toronto. In Orlando. Let me put this down for a second. Also, I got this towel with me because I'm with these lights. Sometimes I swear like a preacher that delivered the good word for the day. All right, my brother, the TC. Yeah, LA definitely gave him some competition today. That wasn't just no cakewalk game for the Warriors. Also, guys, put the word out in the live, on social media. So y'all gotta excuse me. Excuse me. Okay. What I want to get to is now, according to multiple reports, this year's ratings for the NBA playoffs are down 31% from last year. That's a pretty steep decline. A lot of people feel that the ratings have gone down due to the fact that LeBron James isn't in the playoffs. You know, that has some truth to it, because whether you love or hate LeBron, LeBron is a polarizing player. Some people root for him to win, some people root for him to lose. But you know what? I ran across a video today by another YouTuber named Too Raw for TV. If you please check out his channel, because he gives great NBA commentary. So I'm going to play you a couple of his points from his video on why the Rays have gone down the NBA playoffs.
But a lot of that has to do with the fact that the media, sports media, are not doing their job. Okay, the narrative for this entire season has been dominated by LeBron James and the Los Angeles Lakers. And what's really making it terrible to me is it's not even all the time, it's oftentimes not even about basketball. Like, at one point in time, they were talking about on-court stuff, you know what I'm saying? Whether or not LeBron James, and we would do videos talking about it, whether or not LeBron James was declining as a player, whether Luke Walton was the problem, which I think he was, how the chemistry of the Lakers, where LeBron James getting all his players, his teammates and things like that. Okay, the injury, and even with the Anthony Davis thing, that's still basketball related, okay? But then it started getting to they started talking about non-basketball shit or non-on-court stuff or shit that really wasn't relevant. Was Jeannie Buss behind this, or Magic Johnson, Rob Pelinka? Like,
I'm gonna skip a little over
and
this.
Then definitely after Wilt Chamberlain retired, as they are now. But after Bill Russell retired, without the game's biggest star being in the playoffs, but that always happens. When
I'm gonna stop right there. I definitely agree with him that a lot of reason why these Rays are down is mainly because of the sports media. Sports media, especially sports talk shows like First Take, Undisputed, Colin Cowherd. I can't stand that bastard. Speak for Yourself. Also, Get Up with Jalen Rose and Mike Greenberg. They all do a terrible job of not really giving other NBA players shine outside of LeBron. There's plenty of stars that you give shine to outside of LeBron. You got Giannis Antetokounmpo, the Greek freak. Excuse me. Of course, you got James Harden, Russell Westbrook, as well as Paul George, Kyrie, Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown. Those are up and coming stars. You got Joel Embiid, Ben Simmons. But the sports media definitely focuses too much on LeBron. Especially you got some LeBron fanboys like Shannon Sharp, Nick Wright, Colin Cowherd, Brian Windhorst, Chris Broussard. They focus on LeBron so much. Matter of fact, just about it turned to any sports show every morning. Most of their topics during the regular season were about LeBron and the Lakers. Nobody talked about, what Milwaukee was doing as they ascended to the best record in all of the NBA, or the Toronto Raptors, how they were doing with Kawhi Leonard, excuse me, or just how, Philadelphia was doing after they acquired players like Tobias Harris at the trade deadline. It was all about LeBron. Let me get some more of the shells and cheese. I mean, look at the NFL. Tom Brady is the biggest star in the NFL. But other players in the NFL get shine besides him. Aaron Rodgers, Drew Brees, Deshaun Watson, Carson Wentz. Phillip Rivers, as old as he is, Antonio Brown, Odell Beckham Jr., Baker Mayfield, Jared Goff, excuse me. You know, there's enough shine to spread around throughout the NFL. It's not just like everybody, you know, that the sports media is just talking about Tom Brady all the time. You know, so the NBA definitely has to work on that. And he also pointed out how, you know, the media adjusted to when players like Wilt Chamberlain and them retired. Yeah, the NBA took a steep decline after they retired, but then they picked up eventually. Like with, you know, you still had teams in the 70s like the Washington Bullets, who are the Washington Wizards now, as well as the Golden State Warriors, you know, that were doing their thing. But then you also had Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, who was doing his thing in the 70s first, you know, winning the championship in Milwaukee with Oscar Robertson, then being traded to LA later on in the 70s. But he was carrying the league. Then you had the 80s, of course, where everybody considers that the golden era of basketball, where Magic Johnson and Larry Bird practically revitalized the NBA along with Isaiah Thomas, Michael Jordan, Dominique Wilkins. You know, I'm hungry, y'all. Y'all gotta forgive me. Also, other cats like Charles Barkley, Hakeem the Dream Olajuwon, all of them had a big part in revitalizing the NBA. But if the sports media during the regular season would have gave more players shine along with LeBron, then the NBA playoffs would be more, would have more ratings and more, because more people would know who these players are, and they would definitely want to tune in. But in my opinion, some of that is market bias, because a lot of the media, you know, sports media tend to focus on catering to the big markets like New York, LA, Boston, Chicago, and even Miami to a certain extent. You know, they didn't focus on, you know, Milwaukee. What team? I believe the NBA will pick back up ratings once the comp is evened out again. That could be true. That's also another factor. A lot of people are tired, basically getting tired of seeing the freaking Warriors, because they basically got the Monster Squad. You know, yeah, I know people would say, well, we love to see dominant teams. Yeah, that's true. But after a while, you get tired of it. You want to see a new team rise. You want to see a new team win. You don't want to see the same old team over and over and over again. It's like going to, say, McDonald's. If all you order is quarter pounder all the time, after a while, you're going to get tired of ordering the damn quarter pounder, okay? You're going to want something different, like filet of fish or a chicken sandwich, a Big Mac. Heck, even just a regular cheeseburger, just to change it up. You know, so yeah, people, you know, a lot of people are getting burnt out on the Warriors. That's why people are rooting for KD to leave. So, you know, the NBA, so competition can come back to the NBA. Okay, he also said it has become one big soap opera. That's true too. You know, Kyrie with all his drama with the Celtics during the regular season, and of course LeBron with all his drama with the Lakers. Excuse me. You know, Golden State with their drama, which I don't think they've moved beyond from. There's still, sometimes you can just look on their sidelines. There's still some tension in that locker room. Whew. Like, got to be sweating. You know, also with these playoffs, especially the first round, a lot of times the first round isn't competitive. I mean, look at the first round right now. Boston has swept Indiana. Bucks are up 3-0 on the Pistons. Warriors, 76ers, both of them are up 3-1 in their series. Well, we don't know what's going to happen with Toronto. Well, we don't know what's going to happen with the Raptors and Magic until after tonight. So we got to find out the results of that game 4. But, you know, the first round is the only first round series right now that's competitive is the Nuggets and Spurs. And that's tied 2-2. That's gonna be, that's now a best of 3 series. So anybody can win that series. It's gonna, in my opinion, it's gonna depend on who wins game 5. Whoever wins game 5, in my opinion, they're gonna win that series either in 6 or 7. But I could be wrong. So I got a question from my brother TC. How can the competition even out in the NBA again? If those of you join me in the chat, come on, chime in. I'm all ears. Because the NBA feels that they try to even out competition with the bird rights, etc., and the TV deal they got a few years ago, but players are still flocking to all these super teams. So now I don't know if the Rays are going to pick up in later rounds or even the NBA finals, because in my opinion, now finals, the Rays might pick up just a little bit because you're going to have a new team out of the East. Say if the Bucks do make it to the finals, a lot of people going to want to see that story, see if they can win their first championship since 71. If they do, that would make a hell of a story, especially if they do it by knocking off the Warriors, knocking off the 2-time defending champs. Oh yeah, that would make a great story. Some people would call it a lot of people call it a monumental upset. Okay, I believe it's going to take some wanting their own team without the super teams. Yeah, that's true. Go back to the old days where players wanted to beat each other instead of wanting to play together. And that's what really has done, that's what really has kind of messed up the NBA. Players wanting to do all these super teams and, play together. It's that AAU mentality. You want your own monster squad instead of trying to beat these teams that's in front of you or that's up on your same level. So yeah, I definitely agree. I'll finish the rest of this. But yeah, I definitely think that LeBron not being in the playoffs this year has a lot to do with it. I wouldn't call LeBron a hero or a villain. I call him more of the anti-hero. He's not a good guy, but he's not the bad guy either. He has that. He's not all black and white. He's got that shade of gray to him. You got your LeBron fans who love him no matter what, and you got your LeBron haters who hate him no matter what. Like I said earlier, a lot of people want to see him win, and a lot of people want to see him lose too, no matter what team he's on. So yeah, you don't have that polarizing player to rally around. So, okay, excuse me. So maybe that does play a part in the Rays being down, because a lot of the LeBron fans and haters aren't aren't watching because they don't have that person to root for or against. But like I said, maybe in later rounds it might pick up because the matchups are going to get better and more teams are going to be competing on the same level. In my opinion, I've thought about this for a long time. A lot of y'all don't know this. Back in the day, from at least I want to make sure I'm correct, from at least like the 70s all the way to like the early 80s, the first 2 seeds in the East and the West got a first round bye, just like the first 2 seeds in the NFL do now. In my opinion, the NBA should look into that again, giving the first 2 teams a first round bye. in the so maybe that might give more competition. Also, it make teams play harder during the regular season because they'll know, hey, if we get the first 2 seeds, we don't have to play anybody till the second round. That's just a thought. Excuse me. And another factor to make ratings go up, don't just promote individual players, promote the teams. Like, I'm going to compare the NFL again. Now, the NFL, they do promote star players and individuals, but they still promote teams at the end. You don't just hear about just the star quarterback. You also hear about stars at wide receiver, running back, or tight end, or even offensive line, defensive line, secondary like safeties, corners. It's not just all about the quarterback. Other players on the team get shine. So if the media will also shine, give other players some shine, especially role players who are very consistently good in their role. Yeah, they may not be the superstar or even the all-star, but they can still do their job, like, being the garbage man or being the three-point shooter or somebody who can break down the defense. That's what also helped the NBA as well. And I've always noticed that over the years that a lot of other players, if they're not the star players on the team, then the other players don't get shot. It's like, they're all, the star players are like Michael Jackson, and everybody else is Jermaine, Tito, Jackie, Marlon, and all them. And that's no disrespect to them because I'm a big Jackson 5 fan. I'm just using that for criticism purposes. But yeah, that's why I think that's why I always be conscious of when I do my previews for the playoffs, whether it be in, NFL, MLB, NBA. I just don't talk about the stars. I talk about role players as well because, the stars, they're going to do their thing. It's the role players that's really going to, going to have to match that star's intensity or go along with that star to take the load off of them. That's where the difference is made. It's not just with the stars, it's with the supporting players. Excuse me. Like, every championship team always has those bench players that step up for you in big moments. Like, prime example, with the Heat during that back-to-back, you had dudes like Shane Battier, Mike Miller, then later on Ray Allen. The Mavericks, you had in 2011 when they won, JJ Barea. The Lakers, when they went back-to-back in 2009, 2010, respectively, you had dudes like Lamar Odom, Sasha Vujacic, Shannon Brown, all of them coming off the bench contributing big. Excuse me. The Spurs in 2014, you had Marco Bellinelli, Patty Mills. Those were very key factors off the bench. Even the Spurs, in the mid-2000s, they had players like, Robert Horry, who could hit big shots. Steven Jackson, Speedy Claxton. That's where your difference makers are. Even this year in the Super Bowl, even though being a boring one, who scored the game-winning touchdown? It was Sonny Michel. Now that's a running back that nobody had really ever heard of all season, but he made the biggest play in the Super Bowl. So like I said, the media just needs to start not just focusing on star players and individuals. Look at teams as a whole. Go deep and look at the role players. If they do that, I think the ratings in the NBA would definitely be a lot better. Also, the sports media needs to learn, as Too Raw for TV said, needs to find a way to start preparing for a league without LeBron because that day is coming. I mean, come on. Look at Wade and Bosh. Both of them got drafted in 2003. They both just retired. And LeBron, within the next about good 5 or 6 years, he's definitely going to retire. So the league needs to start preparing for a league without LeBron now while he's still here. Okay, I ain't gonna hold y'all too much longer because I got some things to do, and I know y'all want to enjoy the rest of y'all Easter. Thanks for joining me. Now I'm gonna do another live stream soon, so look out for that. Y'all follow me on Twitter, like me on Facebook, follow me on Instagram. I'm about to leave y'all my social media accounts now, or my handles where y'all can find me. And if y'all watch the playback, please leave your comments in the comment section. You know, I love to hear your comments. Love to hear your comments on this topic. I check all the comments every day. So definitely leave your comments, whether you agree with me, disagree with me. Let's talk about it. All right. Like I said, I might do a live stream sometime soon. Looks like, this first round is about to be wrapped up pretty shortly. So definitely gonna do a conference semifinals preview once the matchups are set. So till next time, y'all have a good one. Love y'all to life. QC out.